Time for the market report. A good bit to get through this week.
That's right. We got the latest WASDE. Prices are on the downswing, and we're going to get an update on farm income, and we'll get into all of it. But first, the numbers. What were the week's biggest gains and losses? And then, this month's WASDE report. What were the biggest takeaways? And finally, we talk with economist Dr. Kevin Kim about how the economic landscape looks for ag right now. So, markets closed the week going down, all commodities affected. Let's take a look. The week's biggest gain, live cattle up about 6 cents, a near 3.25% increase from the previous week. The week's biggest loss, lumber, down 29.5 bucks, an over 5% decrease from the previous week. So, this month's WASDE report dropped and appeared to make some waves. Economists talking mostly about row crop adjustments, especially stocks. Here's Bella Bingham with a quick overview.
In row crops, U.S. corn used for ethanol increased 50 million bushels, exports raised 150 million bushels, and ending stocks down 200 million bushels. Global corn production down while stocks also down nearly 8 million tons. U.S. soybeans mostly unchanged, but global soybean production is slightly higher by about 1 million tons. U.S. wheat exports up 15 million bushels, while supplies down 20 million bushels. Global supplies and production down slightly, while ending stocks up slightly. In livestock, beef, broiler, and turkey production is up, while pork and egg production down. Milk production also up, while cheese and butter prices lowered. Whey prices up, while non-fat dry milk prices unchanged.
Now we dive into the meat and potatoes of the farming business. The economic side of the profession is one of the most important, if not tedious, parts of being a producer. To help make sense of the current economic landscape, I spoke with Dr. Kevin Kim of Mississippi State University to get his thoughts on what's going on.
For the U.S. ag sector, we are still expecting a decrease in the farm income level, but compared to what was anticipated earlier this year, the magnitude of the drop in the farm revenue is now expected to be less severe than the previous prediction. However, there's a caveat because for the livestock producers, actually this year looks pretty good because we are expecting an increase in the revenue base, but for other producers, we are actually expecting a greater decrease in the farm revenue and income compared to what we initially anticipated.
Well, which groups are expected to face challenges?
So here we are talking about corn, soybean, and cotton producers. When we look at the price as of October 2024, the price for these three crops have decreased between 17 to 25%. And it is expected that this will be translated into 10 to 20% reduction in the revenue base. So it is now estimated that the input cost for this year will decrease slightly compared to the previous year. We are talking about 1 to 3% decrease. So what we have to remember is that the farm production expense increased so much since COVID-19. So this tiny annual decrease in input cost will not have any meaningful impact on the farm profitability of these producers who will face some challenges this year.
So all these challenges that we're bringing up, and based on that information, are there any developments on the state or federal level to help these producers?
At late October, Trent Kelly, representative of Mississippi, has introduced the Farm Assistance and Revenue Mitigation Act of 2024. The goal of this act is to provide one-time emergency assistance payment to affected producers and cover. It has been estimated that this act will cost about $20 billion from the federal spending. So for some lawmakers, this seems way too pricey. So we'll have to sit and wait how this conversation goes at DC.
Well, last time you were here, you talked a good bit about farm loan interest rates. And has there been any development since then? Has the interest rate gone down?
Yes. So fortunately for us, the inflation has started to cool down finally. And accordingly, starting from September, the Fed started to perform some interest rate cut. So this has also translated into a reduction in farm loan interest rates. When we look at the operating loans and the intermediate loan interest rates, we are seeing some numbers between 8 to 8.5%. If you compare these numbers to the interest rates charged in the previous year, overall we are seeing about 0.1% to 0.3% decrease in the interest rates. And it has been predicted that the Fed will perform a further interest rate cut in 2025, so we will probably see additional decrease in the interest rates. However, there's been a growing concern over the newly proposed tariff on the goods imported to the United States. So if this indeed happens, then the Fed will be a little bit slower in reducing the interest rates. So we'll have to wait and see how this tariff and its manifestation in the economy really takes place.
Dr. Kim's advice for farmers is to keep a tight lock on your financial records, keep them up to date and detailed so you know exactly what you have. He also added, if you see any further interest rate cuts, you can renegotiate your existing loans and refinance them. And that's it for a deeper look into the markets.